not typing now. In fact, do me a favor, will you shut your computer so that I'm not even suspecting that you are? And again, you shouldn't be on your phone, because I already said that. Shut the computer. Like, close it. You can do it, Joffrey.
Take some notes.
Yes. Okay. What we are doing is continuing to try and figure out why people engage in deviant behavior. And I'm going to introduce a theory that is kind of interesting because it argues that our criminal justice system is blatantly racist. That the reason people engage in deviant behavior is because the people in power target other people based on race and just to keep themselves propped up. So some interesting statistics here. This is kind of the interesting one. This first group is white men. So white men, ages 18 or older, 1 in every 106 white men is in prison right now. That's less than 1%. 1 in every 106. Okay, now let's fine tune it. All men, so whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, everybody. 1 out of 54. That's slightly below 2%. Slightly below 2% of the American male population, 18 and older, is in prison right now.
Is this true?
Yes.
Really? 2% of all.
Well, I mean, it was true in 2000. 2% of all men 18 and older are in prison right now. Do you find that to be low or high?
High.
You think that's a high statistic?
I mean, if you really think about it, there's 2% of American population is black people.
Okay, but this isn't 2% of America's population. This is 2% of the male population, which is half.
Still, yeah.
And then 18 or older, which basically you can cut that in half again.
Sense, yeah.
Okay. All right. Now let's look at some specific races. Hispanics, 1 in 36. That's higher than the white population and the overall population. Black men, 18 or older, 1 in 15. 1 in 15. That's not 10%. It's like 7.5%. 7.5% of the black male population ages 18 or older is in prison right now. Black men that are young, 1 in 9. Over 10% of black males between the ages of 20 and 34 is in prison right now. And the point that this argument is trying to make is there's no way that this reflects actual crime rates. There's no way over 10% of black males are criminals. No. While less than 1% of white males are criminals? No. That there's something else going on here. That it is a prejudicial system. Those in power define what a crime is. Does anyone remember what Jim Crow laws were? Jim Crow laws, what were they? What were they? Very good. So it created a segregationist society in southern states. Does anyone remember which amendment ended slavery? 13th Amendment ended slavery, right? No more slavery, right? No, it didn't.
The 15th?
No, it didn't. No, the 15th guaranteed you cannot deny the right to vote based on race. The 13th Amendment, this is one of those fallacies. People think it's true, but it's not. People say slavery ended with the 13th Amendment. No, it didn't. Race-based slavery ended with the 13th Amendment. But it says right in the 13th Amendment that slavery is allowed in certain situations. Can you figure it out? Did you know that slavery is legal in the United States today? As long as there are certain qualifications, it's still legal. In what?
In prison with work.
Yeah. If you've been convicted, you can be enslaved. It says right in the amendment that you cannot enslave someone based on race. And then it says, however, you can use slavery if the person has been convicted of a serious enough crime. So that's not race-based slavery. It is criminal-based slavery, right? Now all we need to do, says southern states, is make sure that blacks are convicted of crimes. Make sure that they're convicted of crimes, then we can enslave them, not because they're black, but because they're criminal. And so this is true. Southern states created laws that they knew blacks would break. They said, for example, three or greater black males could not congregate in public in southern states. So they come to a crowd of a bunch of black guys just hanging out. Hey, you're arrested. You are a criminal, and suddenly you're on a chain gang picking up litter on the side of the highway. Not because you don't want to. That's what slavery is, right? Work against your wishes without compensation. That's what slavery is. Okay. Understand that southern states, mainly southern states, created laws believing that blacks would break those laws so that they could criminalize them, so that they could make them legally slaves. This happened. Okay? So the argument is that criminal justice system is racist. Here's another example just to make you think about it. Marijuana is currently illegal in the state of Wisconsin, and yet these other drugs are perfectly legal. Well, why? How come that guy that got convicted of 500 grams of powder cocaine got a smaller sentence than the guy that got convicted for, 10 grams of crack cocaine?
More potent.
You're arguing more potent. Maybe. What would this argument argue?
Wait, say it again?
Wait, is that what we concluded though?
I don't know if we ever reached that conclusion.
You said.
I said it's possible.
Wouldn't this one argue race?
It's because crack cocaine is the preferred drug of African Americans. Powder cocaine is the preferred drug of white Americans. So we want to punish the blacks more than the whites. Please, please, please do not go home and say, Mr. Potter says that. I'm not saying this. I'm simply presenting the argument of people who believe that this is true. I am presenting it to you for your consideration. But
Did you tell us what those outcomes were for the border?
I did, didn't I?
Just say.
Yeah. You
I don't remember either.
you said you didn't know which one was more potent, but then you revealed that you did. Which one was more potent?
You said the crack was slightly more.
Slightly more potent. White person drug, sugar, white person drug, phones, white person drug, and black person drug, and Hispanic person drug, and Asian person drug. That would count. What I'm suggesting is that the people in power legalize their drugs, alcohol, and they make illegal the drugs they don't prefer anyway. And then they criminalize it so that they can keep control, keep themselves in power. And right now, you might be out there sitting thinking, that's a bunch of baloney. Fine, this is America, think what you want. Or you might be thinking, never thought about that. Maybe there's something to this. That's for your consideration. Let's get this one. What we're going to start doing today, this is our last slide for today, and then we're going to shift gears, is looking at different types of crime. Today we start with something called organized crime. How many of you ever heard of the mafia? The Japanese Yakuza, Mexican drug cartels, biker gangs. You see them in the summer kind of rolling through town here. Okay, these are all different forms of organized crime. And we have a definition of organized crime, which I'm going to show you. But what do we know about organized crime? Anyone like the what?
Groups.
Yeah, they're in groups, right? Are those groups diverse?
They can be.
No, they are not diverse. They're usually a black gang or a Mexican gang or a white gang or a Jewish gang or an Irish gang. There's usually some common cultural aspect to it. Pietro,
It's always with.
what does that mean?
I mean, like the crimes they commit, it's always with.
Yeah, right. So this isn't random stuff. It's not like drunk husband who comes home and has had enough of the old lady and then slaps her up pretty good. Nope. This is inherent in the term. It's organized, right? This is an intentional action. Anyone else? Any other? Go ahead.
I think it's usually made for profit.
Very good. There's a financial aspect here, right? Husbands don't go home to wives and beat them up so that they can get money. right? That's not part of the equation. This is financial. Organized crime is financial. Very good. Anyone else? Look at the services. The services of organized crime are often called victimless crimes. I'm wondering if any of you can figure out what that is supposed to mean. Victimless crimes. As an example, we've got prostitution, drug use, gambling. There's other stuff here. What does that mean? Go ahead.
They're all done out of free will.
Yeah. The people that are engaging in the behavior are choosing to engage in the behavior. The organized crime unit provides the service that is in demand. The wife doesn't beg and plead to be beat up, right? That's not a service that's in demand. But organized crime provides a service, but the service is illegal, but it's in demand. You understand? Organized crime is a simple mathematical formula. There's something that people want, but it's illegal. Organized crime. They want it, they can't have it legally. Organized crime. Marijuana, it's illegal. Organized crime. Prostitution, it's illegal. Organized crime. Gambling in the state of Wisconsin, it's illegal. Organized crime. Or Indian casinos. Something, people want it, but it's illegal. Organized crime steps in and provides it.
What do you mean gambling?
Gambling in Wisconsin is illegal.
Like, at home or anything.
Oh, okay, the small nickel and dime stuff you get to with your friends. I don't see it, therefore it doesn't exist.
What about casino?
Casinos are not in Wisconsin.
There's no casinos in
Treasure
Wisconsin.
Island.
That's in Minnesota.
Treasure Island's in Minnesota, which by the way, gambling is also illegal in Minnesota.
Yeah, there's one.
Gambling
as in like making bets. You can go to a casino in Wisconsin.
No, you cannot.
What do you mean?
It's
My
the
mom
same
stops
price.
at a casino every time. she
When
goes
you
up
are
north.
at St. Croix Casino in Turtle Lake, Wisconsin,
Yeah.
you are not in Wisconsin. You are on an Indian reservation, they have their own rules. We've had this discussion. I have failed.
Wait. Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Uh-huh.
So
Good.
they loophole it. Basically.
There are 6 sovereign nations inside the state of Wisconsin. Sovereign nations have their own rules. They have legalized gambling and smoking.
Yeah, are you going to?
Have you been to a casino?
Right.
Right? It smells like smoke.
What about like slot machines and stuff at bars? Or like.
Right, so the pull tabs are a loophole, you're right. But I'm talking about blackjack. Illegal in the state of Wisconsin.
Wait a
When you
minute.
go to a casino, you're not in Wisconsin.
So there are
I
some.
love how awake you suddenly all are.
You're still in
There are
Wisconsin.
some states.
No, you're not!
How are you not?
It's Indian.
It's not
it's
owned.
owned by.
There's a country called Italy.
Yeah, you got one right there. too.
Oh,
Italy.
yeah.
And the capital of Italy is a city called Rome. And inside the city of Rome is a country called Vatican. When you're in the Vatican, are you in Rome?
No, you're in the Vatican.
No, you're in the Vatican. They have their own rules. Now, are you surrounded by the city of Rome? Uh-huh. When you're in Turtle Lake Casino, you're inside the state of Wisconsin, but you're not in Wisconsin. Yes, dear.
How do you become a sovereign nation? Like, if you buy some land, you like declare you're a sovereign nation.
You can try, and people have, right? You could secede. That's what the South tried. Now, what happened was that as westward expansion occurred, basically the U.S. I truly mean what I'm about to say, in an effort to make it up to the natives whose land they conquered, basically. I mean, look at the difference between how the Germans conquered land and how the Americans conquered land, right? The Germans did it and said, screw you, not only are we not giving you anything, but we're gonna kill you. We're gonna wipe you out. Versus the Americans who basically said, geez, we have this land, and right now I'm not criticizing westward expansion, right? I'm just saying that the US government had all these Indians that they said, what do we do with them? What do we do with them? And for a while, for about 50 years, the US government's conclusion of what to do with them was eliminate them. I don't mean kill them. I mean eliminate the term Indian. You are not an Indian. Welcome to white America. Join our team. You are an American. Give up your culture, give up your language, give up your religion, give up your weird as in weird according to white culture. One of the cultural traits of Native Americans used to be, how can you own land? That doesn't make any sense. Think about this. Can you go to the county and say, I'd like to buy the space of air right about here, right about there. That I want that. And they would look at you like, stop doing drugs, right? That's how Native Americans viewed land. How can you own land? But that went directly counter to the United States belief of, damn right you can own land. Well, what do you do with them, right? They don't believe you can own land, but we do. So they came up with the reservation system. But then the US recognized that these people, that this is after the conclusion of No More Indian, later on, FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, World War II guy, right? He said, no, these are Indians. And for us to pretend that they're not is an insult to their culture. Let's recognize them as sovereign people, which means they're their own country, but they're also Americans. So Native Americans are dual citizens. Do any of you happen to be dual citizens? Dual citizens? Like your dad's from Germany or something? Okay. Same idea, right? Let's say your dad's from Germany, but your mom's from America. You're a dual citizen. You're a citizen of Germany and the US. If you are a citizen of France, this is true. Let's say that your parents are French, then they go to Disney World and they go on the rock and roller coaster and it's a little bit too rickety and suddenly you're born, right? Because mom's pregnant with you. You're a dual citizen because you were born in the US. You're an American citizen, but your parents are French. You're a French citizen. You're a dual citizen.
There's no comment about the Native American reservations. My cabins could cross road and they have their own laws and everything.
I know, that's what I said.
And I don't think it's really like a good thing because there's been like murders and burglings and max like.
Yeah, I don't think murder is legal on any Indian.
Well, no, I know that, but like there was a guy who was shot. So.
Yeah, and that never happens in America.
Well, no, I'm just saying. It's just.
Allow me to say this. It's easy to look at another group and say, God, what's wrong with those people? I just invite you to consider that whatever it is you're accusing that group of is probably happening in your own backyard too.
Yeah,
It's just so easy. It is. It's human nature, by the way, is to point and say, God, what's wrong with those people? Happens here too. We have a few murders in America. In fact, I think we won the gold medal every year for the past like 30.
Yeah.
Number one.
Go for us, you know?
We're also number one in teeth whitening.
Well,
You can actually buy air or like airspace. Like what companies will do that when they're building like skyscrapers. They'll buy like the neighboring buildings airspace and like add it onto theirs so that they can build taller buildings.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay. So let's just jot down some characteristics and then we got to shift gears here. So characteristics of organized crime. Number one, victimless crime, right? They're providing a service. Number two, they actually figure out territory, right? So if I'm selling some sort of a drug in the streets of LA and so are you, rather than compete against each other, let's just agree that the dividing line will be like 4th Street. Okay. So what we're creating here, for those of you who've taken American history, is we're creating 2 monopolies. Why compete against each other? If we compete against each other, we have to lower our price for our product to get people to buy mine, not yours. But if we separate, now we can charge whatever we want and people will buy it, okay? So that's what I mean by set prices. Something called arbitration. So let's say that Pietro there's a dealer and I'm a dealer. And the dividing line is this row of desks right here. Okay, so I send one of my sellers to a street corner and he's standing right there. That's where he's standing. Have I violated our separation of property? You don't think so. What was the dividing line again? That row of desks, and he's on the desk. Why do I get the desk? Why can't you get the desk? Right? There's a difference of interpretation. If the dividing line is this desk and my guy's on the desk, who gets the desk? Okay, now rather than fight it out, we could, and certainly organized crime units sometimes fight it out, but what they try and do is avoid that. They'll hire an arbitrator. They'll hire an arbitrator, and you will listen to my argument. Oh, I think I get the desk. We go, whoa, 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 whoa. And then PH will say, well, I think I should get it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And then you will decide. And we will both abide by the decision.
And a new line will be drawn.
The new line will be drawn.
And then what if you just keep doing that?
Well, if we both agree to abide by the decision of the arbitrator, then in essence, he's a judge.
Yeah, but couldn't you just do the same thing again?
Well, you could, but you're going against the wishes of the arbitrator.
Get a new arbitrator.
Do you get a new judge?
Yeah, but organized crime isn't legal.
No, but they have their own legal system. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Oh, okay.
They have rules. Organized crime has rules. That's what I'm trying to get across. Okay? What they have are fronts. Any of you ever heard of money laundering? Money laundering. What is that?
It's like, shoot. You got like all the newer money that's just freshly printed, like out of the bank. I don't remember exactly how it works, but it's making it look and feel like it's not straight out of the bank. Like,
Not exactly.
No.
Not exactly. It's a good guess. Not quite. By the way, I welcome people that take a shot, right? Are you okay? Basically, you said something and I said, nah. Are you all right? Sweet. Go ahead.
I have a dumb question. Is being an arbitrator or something an actual job?
Well, if you mean a legal job, no. But they are paid. They're paid by the organized crime units. Go ahead.
Money laundering is when, like, say you work for a business and you're secretly taking that money and putting it in, like, your own bank account. Is that kind of it?
You're on the right track, right? Look, I'm providing illegal services. I'm rich. I buy a nice house. The IRS says, how'd you get that house? What do? I have to come up with an alternate business to explain how I acquired that house. So I say, I own a laundromat. And the IRS says, really? Well, let's see your books. Let's see the financial reports of your laundromat
Oh, that's why.
so you can prove that you made enough money to buy that house. So I have to alter the financial reports to make it look like I made enough money with my legit business so that I can hide the money that I made with my
That's why
diligent.
usually, like, huge gangs and stuff buy the property, like,
You got it.
business.
Question.
Couldn't they just say they got like an inheritance or?
You have to prove that. You can't just say, well, I have a really rich uncle who lives in the middle of Africa. You do?
I won the lottery. You gotta prove it, right?
Prove it. You have to prove it. Okay? And so they'll manipulate the system. Okay? Just a couple other things here. We'll skip that one. Witness intimidation. Right? If you're a gang and you're dealing and someone sees it, well, they can go to the cops, but I don't want you to go to the cops, so I'll either bribe you, I'll give you a carrot, or I'll threaten to kill your dog and your family and your mom and your dad and your daughter if you go. That's the stick. So I could either intimidate you with a reward if you don't, or punishment if you do. Very, very good. Okay, we've done a lot here. Great questions, by the way. Good. That's enough. Now you can retrieve your computers. Let's write paragraph. As far as I'm understanding, we're on paragraph number 5. That would be the second argument for the side we disagree with. Yes, sir.
So if arbitrators aren't actual professions legally, then how do they get?
We can talk about that. So it is interesting. We'll talk about it.
So if they just pull someone randomly off the street and be like, you're the arbitrator, here's a,
No, this is someone that they trust.
oh, okay, so it has to be someone who's,
Part of it.
in home.
So this is super important, but I read about this conspiracy theory of the reason that there are so many mattress stores all over the place, and though there's not a very high demand for mattresses, is because organized crime units use those a lot.
Yep, so if an organized crime unit actually is unable to reach an agreement with a competing organized crime unit, what they'll do is they'll go to the mattresses, which means they'll engage in a street war. And you can't have these people drive from their homes every day to join the war. So what they'll do is they'll rent an apartment or they'll rent a house and they'll put mattresses around the house. Just fill the house with mattresses. That's where you sleep while you're engaging in the street war. It's fascinating stuff. Okay. What's going to happen though today is this is your 5th paragraph. If you don't get it by now, come on! So I'm just going to leave this up here. This is your 5th paragraph, which means it's the 2nd paragraph for the side you agree with. You write it the same way as the 4th paragraph. Only it's a different argument. It's your 2nd argument for the side you agree with. That means you're paying attention to this column. Okay? You make a claim. 2nd reason, blah, blah, blah. You state why it's important. This is important because you quote from your document, speaker credibility, quote, footnote. You explain it in your own words, and then you prove it with an example, whether the example's real or made up, doesn't matter. And then you wrap it up with a transition sentence because A is true, B is true. Okay? This class is over when the big hand is on the 10, right? Or today is today a 2-mod?
No,
Oh, good. Okay.
2 mods are tomorrow, I think.
All right. So we do have time here. I would be happy to sit next to you and figure out something if you're struggling. But you're walking in the door tomorrow, I'm assuming, with 5 paragraphs done. Now, you might be one of those people where you've actually only found one reason.
So are we going to walk through how to do the conclusion
Yes,
again?
we will walk through how to do the conclusion. But you're writing this paragraph the same as the previous 3. You're doing the same thing. Okay? But call me over if you're struggling for whatever reason. I'm here to help. All right. Now, if you want to listen to music, that's cool with me.